Hello everyone, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Keisha and today I'm going to be talking about all of the content and reading plans that I have for the month of September. I want to go ahead and get the content plans out of the way. I don't have a ton this month, but first and foremost, this is going to be my birthday month, but not just any birthday. I'm approaching my 30th birthday, which comes with a lot of emotions, but I'm really excited to be going into my 30s. I've really enjoyed my 20s. I think it's kind of bittersweet to leave them, but I'm also excited to see what my 30s has in store for me. So my birthday is actually on September 20th, so I am going to take it a little bit easy this month on the content just so I can enjoy being present in my life as I'm entering into this new decade of life. So I do have a couple things planned, but they are mostly just Readathon vlogs. I do have a Readathon announcement that will be coming out later this month that you guys probably know about if you know anything about what I host in October. You can also expect some more reading sprints from me, and I think I'm gonna put my fall decor in one of my Readathon vlogs. I do have some fall decor around me, but I haven't actually decorated for fall yet. I'm gonna do that over Labor Day weekend, so that will be weaved in with some of my other content this month. Now let's go ahead and jump into my reading plans for the month. I do have quite a few books set aside. I'm not sure if I'll get to all of them or not. I didn't read a lot in August, which actually makes me more hopeful that I'll read more in September, because I usually like teeter-totter the months where one month I won't read as much and the next month I will. So maybe September will be a month that I can read a lot. I do have some readathons that I'm participating in, so I'm going to tell you guys about those first, and then I also have some buddy reads and then just some other books I really hope to get to if I have time. But first, let's start with Series September. So Krista from Books and Jams hosts this every September, and there is a bingo board and prompts and stuff to go along with it, but I'm gonna do a very chill Series September just because I do plan to read some continuations in some series. So the first one that I have is Pros and Cons, a Magical Bookshop Mystery by Amanda Flower. This is book 2 in the Magical Bookshop Mystery. Book 1 is Crime and Poetry, and it is one of my all-time favorite cozy mysteries. It follows a magical bookshop, a sweet little old granny and her granddaughter, and there's very light magical elements in it. Things like that the books kind of speak to you and draw you to them and maybe help solve some mysteries. I think it's really fun. I love this series. It's very much like a classic cozy mystery feel. I loved the first one, so I do have the second and the third, and I'm really excited to continue on in the series. The next book that I have for Series September, I don't have yet because it hasn't come out in paperback yet, but I think it does at the end of August maybe, or maybe in September. I don't know. I'm filming this pre-September, so we'll see. Let me see if I can find the actual date. August 31st. So this book is called Just Don't Fall by Emma St. Clair, and this is the first book in a series of books from different authors that are all fall romances, and they're clean romances. So you guys know I'm all about clean romances. I'm so excited to try this author out because I haven't tried her out before. Another author that has a book featured is Courtney Walsh. So I may try to read more in this series this month, but if I can't get to all of them, I'm at least going to get to the first one. So this one, like I said, is called Just Don't Fall, and it says, before Logan Barnes was hockey's hottest bad boy, he was my brother's best friend and my first crush. Oh yeah, and the guy who ghosted me and broke my teenage heart. Now Logan is back in Harvest Hollow, but not willingly. Recovering from an injury and some bad press, he's stuck playing for our minor league team, which means I'll be working with him almost daily. As the hockey team's social media manager, it's my job to wrangle all the guys into filming TikTok trending videos. But Logan doesn't want to be wrangled. Turns out, neither does my heart. Because my old crush never died. And when Logan becomes my accidental fake boyfriend, those old feelings flare hot enough to melt the ice. But this is all totally one-sided. Totally fake, isn't it? No matter what signals he seems to be giving me or how real things start to feel, I know Logan's not home for good. I survived Logan leaving me once, but this time I'm not sure my heart will recover. This is a small town, closed door hockey rom-com with all the fake dating, brother's best friend vibes. You'll get smoking chemistry and characters to root for, but no spice. So this is perfect for fans of sports romance who want a little less heat. So that's me. Still haven't read a sports romance either. I still have Sarah Adams, The Cheat Sheet, that I need to read. But this one actually may be my first sports romance. So we'll see. But I love the brother's best friend trope. I don't know if I love fake dating yet. I have read it in a couple books and it hasn't seemed to be my favorite thing, so I may not love that aspect, but we shall see. I don't know. I'm very excited for this one, and I love that it is a romance set in the fall. I'm going to go into some of the other readathons now, but I will mention some that are in a series that can also fit for series September. So the first readathon that I want to talk about is Autumn-a-thon, and this is hosted by my friend Jordan from Bookish Gem and Rachel from Happy Go Lovely Sleeves. This is going to take place the first weekend in September. It is a 72-hour readathon, and I'm going to be reading 4 different books for this one. So the first one that I have is one that I don't own. So let me go ahead and get the synopsis pulled up. I'm waiting on this one to come out too. It comes out on August 30th, so I will be getting it soon. The cover of this book is the epitome of cozy small town fall vibes, and I love it. This is the Pumpkin Spice Cafe by Lori Gilmore. Not Rory Gilmore, but Lori Gilmore. And I'm really pumped for this one. It is a cozy mystery romance, and it says, Jeannie is more surprised than anyone when her aunt bequeaths her the quaint Pumpkin Spice Cafe, especially since her aunt isn't dead. She's alive and well and currently off working on her tan. Jeannie could have said no, and the old Jeannie would have, but now she's determined to be the sunshiny owner of the town's only coffee shop. Logan is not usually one to care about town gossip. In fact, he avoids it at all costs. All he wants is to drop off his produce to the local businesses and then return to the farm he runs with his grandparents. But there are strange things happening in the cafe, odd noises and misplaced items and lights on the fritz, and Jeannie needs Logan's help. But Logan wants nothing to do with the pretty new girl who probably won't stick around. It's just a shame he can't stop thinking about her. The Pumpkin Spice Cafe is a cozy romantic mystery with a grumpy sunshine dynamic, a small town setting, and a happily ever after guaranteed. This is one of my most anticipated books of the fall, so I'm very excited to read this one for Autumn-a-thon. It just felt like it had all the fall vibes, and I love the cute little romance that's going to take place, so excited for this one. Next, I have a spooky middle grade. This is one of my highly anticipated fall releases, so I had to pick this one up. This is The International House of Dereliction by Jacqueline Davies. This author has written the Lemonade War series, so some things that are not spooky, but I really am interested in this book. This one is about a girl named Alice, and Alice is really good at fixing things. She has moved with her family, I think about 10 times, and now they've moved for an 11th time, and she typically helps them fix up their homes. She moves into this new house, and next door there is this condemned home that I believe is about to be demolished. And she decides that she wants to fix this house up, but I think before she knows it's going to be demolished, she wants to fix the house up. While she's there, there are strange things that start happening, and she finds 3 ghosts that inhabit this home, and she needs to help them move on. There's also something like creeping around the attic. We don't know what that is, but she is trying to help these ghosts move on before this house gets demolished. This sounds like it's going to be a very sweet, heartwarming horror story. I love books with a lot of heart when I read spooky middle grade, so I'm hoping that that's what this is going to be. Then I have a couple of graphic novels that I'll be reading for Autumn-a-thon. This one is Sourceline Book 2 by Sylvia Doye and Paula Antista. This is the second book in the Sourceline series that is translated from French. I love it so much. This will also fit for series September. The first book follows our main character, Sourceline, and she is at this magical school where she is learning to take care of animals. It is very Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them vibes. There's also a little bit of Greek mythology thrown in there, as well as a bit of murder mystery. So the first book left off on a pretty big cliffhanger, and I'm really excited to figure out what happens in the second book. I have a feeling it will also end in a cliffhanger, and I don't know when the third one is going to come out in English, but either way, this is a short, really fun series, so I'm excited to jump back into this world. And the last book and graphic novel that I'm reading for Autumn-a-thon is Misfit Mansion by Kay DeVault. I have been really looking forward to this one. The one blurb that I remember the most about this is that it is for fans of Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, which I grew up watching on Cartoon Network. I don't think I've actually read the synopsis of this for you guys since I've hauled it, so I'm going to go ahead and read it. That way we can all just kind of get a feel and a taste for what this is about. Despite her monstrous appearance, Iris has never felt like she belongs in a mansion filled with kelpies and gorgons and unicorns. She longs to find herself a family. Unfortunately, she and her housemates are trapped in a foster home for horrors, run by former paranormal investigator Mr. Halloway. So when a human boy named Matthias breaks the house's sealing spell, Iris and her companions are set free upon the town of Dead End Springs. Finally, a chance to find a family and a real home. What Iris doesn't know is that Matthias is also a paranormal hunter, the kind who seeks to capture and destroy the horrors, or that there are other unseen dangers ahead. As Iris searches for a home, she makes new friends, explores a brand new world, and stumbles upon a dark secret that Holloway has kept locked in the basement of the house. Will this long slumbering mystery destroy the family Iris so desperately seeks? Next up, I'm going to be loosely participating in Jessie from Reading with Jess's Sleep When I'm Dead Readathon. Jessie hosts a monthly book club called Sleep When I'm Dead, where she reads thriller and horror books once a month, and she usually has a co-host, and she is inviting all of her co-hosts back to do some reading sprints with her and participate in the Sleep When I'm Dead Readathon. So I will be jumping on some sprints with Jessie. This readathon takes place September 15th, 16th, and 17th, and she will be having reading sprints on her channel on that Friday the 15th and Sunday the 17th. There are reading prompts that go along with this readathon, but for sake of time and for sake of what I want to and need to read this month, I am just going to be reading one book while I'm sprinting with them that weekend, and that is The Curse of Misty Wayfarer by Jamie Jo Wright. I'm so stoked to read this book because I've heard this is one of Jamie Jo Wright's more scary books. Jamie Jo Wright is a Christian suspense author. I did read one of her books last month called The House on Foster Hill, which you will hear about in my August wrap-up a little bit later this month. But I did like that one. I didn't love it, but I really want to try more from her. For the sake of hopefully convincing you guys to check out this author, I am going to read the synopsis on the back. It is one of my favorite synopses that I've ever read. This book is set in dual timelines, so there's a little bit of history weaved in, and I'm really excited because it also has some really cool elements. So I'm going to tick off, I think on my fingers, the elements that I like as I say them. So, left at an orphanage as a child, Thea Reed vowed to find her mother someday. Now grown, her search takes her to turn-of-the-century Pleasant Valley, Wisconsin. When the clues she finds lead her to a mental asylum, Thea uses her experience as a post-mortem photographer to gain access and assist groundskeeper Simeon Coyle in photographing the patients and uncovering the secrets within. However, she never expected her personal quest would reawaken the legend of Misty Wayfarer, a murdered woman who allegedly haunts the area and whose appearance portends death. Then we jump to a century later. Heidi Lane receives a troubling letter from her mother, who is battling dementia, compelling her to travel to Pleasant Valley for answers to her own questions of identity. When she catches sight of a ghostly woman haunting the asylum ruins in the woods, the long-standing story of Misty Wayfarer returns, and with it, Heidi's fear for her own life. As two women across time seek answers about their identities and heritage, they must overcome the threat of the mysterious curse that has them inextricably intertwined. Does that not sound like the spookiest, most amazing time ever? And I love knowing that Jamie Jo Wright is going to weave some faith elements in at the end of her story. So I really hope that this is a new favorite author for me and a new favorite book. Very excited to read this one for Sleep When I'm Dead. Then I have a couple of buddy reads. One of the buddy reads is going to be the second book in a series, but I'm going to tell you about the first book in the series so as to not spoil the second book. So I'm going to be buddy reading Foxglove, which is book 2 in the Belladonna series by Adeline Grace. This is book 1, and it is a beautiful book. It's honestly probably the prettiest book that I own, and the second book is also going to be beautiful. So I'm really excited to get Foxglove. I don't own it yet, but I will have it in my hands soon. But I am going to be buddy reading that with my friend Yvette from Live Grace Adores over on Instagram, and my friend Elizabeth from Ponytails and Paperbacks. So the first book, Belladonna, follows Signa Farrow. And Signa has had a string of bad luck in her life where everybody that she stays with because she's an orphan ends up leaving. Like, she leaves or she gets sent somewhere else. And so she ends up staying with her uncle at, I think it's called Thorngrove. And there is a mystery that is there. There is a death that has happened that she perceives to be a murder. So she's trying to uncover that. There's also another character in this story that is a potential love interest. You also have the character of Death in this story, which is another really interesting part of the story that is probably my favorite part of the whole book. And there is obviously Belladonna involved. And I'm very excited to continue on in this series. I loved the first one a lot more than I thought I was going to. I gave it 4 stars. I loved the romance in the story. I love the gothic vibes and atmosphere of the story. It is a little bit slow, so just know that if you want to read Belladonna. But I'm really excited to continue reading Foxglove with two of my friends who also really loved Belladonna. And the last buddy read that I have is The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston, and I'm going to be buddy reading this with my friend Gwen from Gwendolyn Kinsinger here on YouTube and Lavender Mud over on Instagram. This book has been everywhere on the internet. Last year I read this author's book, The Dead Romantics, and it is one of my favorite books that I read last year. It's also one of my favorite romances, and so this is also one of my most anticipated books for the year. I am a little bit more hesitant now that I've heard some people talk about it, knowing that it is going to be a little bit more smutty than I would prefer. I think there are a couple of open door scenes in this. There are also some elements thrown in here and there that are not heavy, but just things that I don't really prefer to read about in books. So I know that going in, but I'm still really excited. I don't know. There's just something about this author's writing. I love that this kind of has the movie The Lake House with Sandra Bullock. It kind of has those vibes because you do have two characters who fall in love and they are stuck in two different times. I think they're stuck like 7 years apart. Yeah, the 7-year slip. It would be 7 years apart, Keisha. So yeah, I'm really excited for this one. I don't know a lot about it other than that, and I'm excited to go in a little blind and hopefully enjoy this one as much as I did The Dead Romantics. And I only have a few more books that I would like to get to this month. Well, I guess I have like 4 or 5. So let's go ahead and jump into those. The first one is going to be my Christian nonfiction read for the month, and that is Gentle and Lowly by Dane Ortland. I have heard so many people rave about this book, particularly my friends Jordan and Lauren love this one so much, so I knew I had to get it. It is the heart of Christ for sinners and sufferers, which is basically what this whole book is about. You are learning about God and who He is and His love for us, and I'm excited to dive into that because as I am coming back deeper in my faith in this season of life, I'm really wanting to know more of God's heart, know more of His promises, and be reminded of how good He is and who He is. So I think this is going to be a great book for me to read in September. Next, I have an advanced reader copy of The Doomtown Dummies by Liam R. Finley. I actually had this book so kindly sent to me by the author. He included a very sweet note that has this cute little drawing. It's like me with books, and I absolutely love it. So I'm very thankful for this. I'm gonna show you guys a picture because I know on the cover of this there is the little bar across, like not for resale. So this is the cover of the book, The Doomtown Dummies. Again, it is a spooky middle grade. This is an author that lives in England, and so I was really thankful again to just have him send this to me. It says, Colette Planchette talks to the dead with a supernatural sense of smell. This comes in handy considering her best friend Lucien is a ghost. When the pair find themselves in a village of eerie shop window dummies, it quickly becomes clear that someone or something is watching. Really, really pumped to get to this one. There are some illustrations throughout as well, which we love a good middle grade book, or any book for that matter, that has illustrations. It just makes the story that much more interesting and really makes it come alive. Also, look at the little dummies on the back. They're so creepy looking. Very, very pumped to get to the Doomtown Dummies. Next, because I'm turning 30 this month and this book feels very fitting for that, I want to read The Happy Life of Isadora Bentley by Courtney Walsh. I really love Courtney Walsh's writing. I love that she writes a really good, clean, wholesome story. I do believe this has some romance in it, but I think it's more about the main character, Isadora Bentley, coming into her own and realizing who she is and that she's not behind in life. She's exactly where she was meant to be. So I'm really excited to read this. I think one of the biggest reasons that I wanted to pick it up so soon and why I'm so excited about it is because in chapter 1, she starts out, I'm just going to read you guys a little bit of the first page. It says, Isadora Bentley is shopping for her final meal. If I were a character in a novel, that is what the author would write. Because it's true, I am. Not a character in a novel, of course, but a soon-to-be stiff. A dead ringer for a dead ringer. Plus, if I were a character in a novel, my name would be Estella or Hazel, and I'd be thinner. Okay, I'm being dramatic. Turning 30 isn't the end, at least not of my actual life, just of my hopes and dreams. I'm pretty sure I saw them swirling down the drain last week along with my dignity. I'm 3 decades old. I've spent 10,950 days on this planet, and I really thought my life would look a lot different by now. If that is not how not every 30-year-old woman feels, but I feel like a lot of people sometimes, no matter what it's about, maybe it's about being married or having a baby or having a home or having a new car or living in a certain place or having a certain career or job. I feel like so many people can relate with turning 30 and feeling like you're just not there yet. And I think this is going to be a really great, wholesome book that's going to have some great messages. So I definitely wanted to read this the month that I turned 30. Apologies in advance if the lighting changed. We just had a really dark cloud come over, but you guys can still see me regardless of the lighting. So we're going to continue to go on with the TBR. So next up, I have The Door-to-Door Bookstore by Karsten Hen, which wow, it's getting even darker. That is crazy. Anyways, I'm really excited to read this one because it reminds me so much of the storied life of A.J. Vickery. This is, I believe, translated from German, and it follows an elderly door-to-door bookseller and a 9-year-old girl that changes his life. So stoked for this one. I love the cover. I love that it's short. I'm really hoping it's going to be a new favorite. And the last book that I have is one that I've been meaning to get to for a while now because I feel very in the mood for this. That is The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. This is the last Riley Sager book that I own that I have not read. I've read all of his other books, either completed them or DNF'd them. So I'm really hoping that I enjoy this one. I don't know a lot about what it's about. I feel like most people do, so I'm not going to go into the synopsis. I think it has a lot of really common thriller tropes in it. And it is a story where someone's watching a house. They think they see something that happens, and then they're trying to figure out this mystery. So excited for this one and all the twists and turns that come with a good Riley Sager book. So there you have it. That is all of the books that I want to read in September, as well as my content plans, which are a little bit less this month, but hopefully you guys understand. I'm really excited to get to these books. I hope that I'm able to get to them all, but we'll just have to see. I am very much in the mood for fall, so if you want to go ahead and drop a fall leaves emoji down below, that would make my heart so happy. Thank you all for stopping by and watching this video today. I hope you have a very blessed day wherever you are, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, friends.